in the back? You good, Lauren? Yeah. Okay. Questions for Coach Collins?
You gave that crowd who wanted to cheer a lot to cheer about. Seemed like every time you guys were on the verge of maybe, putting it away or really get some distance, they were able to come back. But to your credit, you answered every time and get out of here with another win.
Well, Brooke and Scott do a great job, and they're always gritty. They're always tough. That's what we talked about, when we started getting ready for them. Like, it wasn't always going to come down to, who was the best team. It was just going to be who was going to be the grittiest and the toughest and fight the most. And credit to Louisiana Tech, because that first quarter we got off to a pretty good start, and they really, I know they changed defenses and we made some unforced turnovers, but really what they did was they ramped up their aggressiveness for rebounds, and we didn't match it. And we talked about that at halftime nicely, but we came back out the second half and fought a little bit harder. We still ended up getting out rebounded by 16. We're just not getting enough physical play inside, and we're getting our hands on balls, but we're not getting balls. And you don't get credit for touches. There's no partial credit. So you've got to get the ball. It's pass fail. So we've got to do a better job there. But good win against a really good team, and a team that's going to be really tough down the stretch as this team keeps growing. They're young, except for the lead kid, being a senior, really young, but they're going to just keep getting better and better. And it's a good win. Great environment. Huge shout out to Adrienne for getting all the thousands of kids in here. That's the best school day that we've had, I can never remember. And so it's a lot of fun to have them here, and it was good to see our players run up there and give high fives and sign and take selfies with the kids.
The balance today, and not just scoring, but even an assist, it was pretty balanced and spread out. That's got to be good to see a lot of sharing the ball today, leading to success on the offensive end.
Yeah, well, we made up for the lack of rebounding with forcing turnovers. And that's kind of what we do. We force some turnovers and we get some steals. We only had 2 points at halftime off of fast break points. We're just not – we're not getting on balance. We're not good spacing. We're just kind of making either hurried or delayed decisions, and we've got to just be in that zone. We'll have to get better at that. But 19 assists. I mentioned the other day, I think we have 14 assists against Middle Tennessee, and I feel like we're averaging 16. I don't think it's a stretch for this team to average 18, 19, 20 assists. I think a lot of the times the reason we don't have more is because we're not shooting the ball particularly well. And so if we can get a few more finishes on the end of that, I think. But I'm real proud of how the ball kept moving, didn't stick in anybody's hands. We had some unforced turnovers trying to make some special passes into the middle of that zone. But as long as we kept moving the ball, we were going to find something good. Can't remember if it was at the end of the third or maybe it was the first media in the fourth. We had back-to-back possessions where Kenzie Chatfield got a corner three. She missed that one. We came back, ran the exact same thing, got her a wing three on the other side, and she knocked that one down. It's not the fact that she missed one and made one. It was the fact that we were deliberate in executing our offense. We got two really good looks, and that's all you want is you want uncontested open shots for good shooters, and that's what we want to do, and that's probably the best example of how we want to play.
Last time it was Callie that kind of came in and had that spark there, in that little spark. I thought Sama there in the first half, a really nice little spark there for you guys that allowed you to get that lead back out there.
Yeah, now she's going to be a great player, and she's going to be a great player. And her mom and dad and her brother Kareem just flew in yesterday from Egypt, and so they're here to see her play. And first time they got to see her play, and they'll be here again on Saturday. And so then they got to go back because Kareem's got to be at school. And so, but Salma's going to be a tremendous player, and she got in trouble. I fussed at her quite a bit after it was about 2 or 3 games ago. I can't remember. And then she talked to her dad, and her dad's an assistant coach for the national team, and he just told her, it must be true. And so she responded by spending more time in the gym, more time working on the fundamentals, more time watching film, and she has the right attitude about how to become a great player. And so you saw some of that today. And she wasn't perfect, but she plays hard. She has good instincts, good size, good touch, and she just got to keep growing and competing.
You guys came back from on the road. You spoke to us about how you talked to Zoki about taking more shots. Well, I feel like you don't really have to talk to her about taking as many, especially, starting that first quarter so
Yep.
strong.
Well, she's a great shooter, and you're correct. We talked, but it wasn't just about taking more shots. It's about being more impactful. And so tonight, I think offensively, she was trying to be impactful. I know she's a little bit outsized, but not significantly on the boards, and I need her to be more impactful on the boards. Like that's what I'm talking about. The pass fail. Like we're getting our hands on balls, but we're not getting balls, and she's capable of doing that. And so I think she can be. I think there's no reason she can't be. Like Ivy Brown, like Chastity Gooch, like those young ladies that were inside-outside players, but also great rebounders. And there's no reason that she can't also do that.
You talk about the rebounding a little bit. I mean, getting out rebounded again. But one of the things too is I saw a lot of swatting the ball around underneath the basket today instead of just kind of being aggressive, going up, getting the ball and securing it. Kind of just like tipping it away from the basket, but then it ends up in the wrong hands.
That's right.
And then it can happen over and over again, and the next thing you know, you draw a foul. And so then it kind of leads from one thing to the next. So
That's right.
just really just kind of, when you're down there, you're under a lot of pressure trying to go up and get the rebound, but just staying more composed and being able to just grab it and come away with it rather than just trying to.
You nailed it. And there's a whole bunch in there that we address all the time. And you're right. The result is exactly not what we're trying to do. And if you ask the girls what's 2-2-2 mean, they'll tell you. You get 2 eyes on the ball, get 2 hands on the ball, and then get 2 feet on the ground. And if you're going to tip it, don't tip it to somebody else. That never works. Not one time out of 100. Tip it to yourself. Like if you can't get 2 hands on it, then tip it to yourself. And they know that, but they didn't do that today. And then the other, we're not, as we were talking about, we're not getting ready to rebound early enough. And then we're standing upright and narrow and in an unathletic, soft stance instead of being wide and strong and being prepared and ready. And so we work on that. We haven't done as many rebounding drills lately since John Butler told me not to do anymore, and it's worked. But we've got to be more intentional about that part of the game. Just like we're talking about being deliberate about the offensive part of the game and taking care of the ball, making sure that you're making safe passes and getting uncontested. We've got to be deliberate about boxing out early, getting 2 hands on the ball, and securing some rebounds. Now, we did get some important rebounds down the stretch that we needed, including at the Middle Tennessee. We got some big ones that we needed to finish the game off. But we don't put ourselves in that spot if we limit second chance opportunities throughout the game. And so that's something that we try to make up for it in other ways, and you know that, you see that. But that's something, if we're going to compete at the top, then we've got to be able to compete with the top in that area.
Another thing that was good to really see today is I saw you all feeding the rim a lot more. Really grabbing those assists that you talk about, but really just kind of feeding the ball up to the rim, giving somebody a chance to cut to the basket, really just put the shot up. That's all you have to do. Saw that a lot more today, and it seemed like it was working
well. Paint touches is a big part of what we do, and if you can go back to even the FIU game where we looked like we were in a bad 3-point shooting drill, and we really stress getting the ball to the paint. Now, then there's 2 ways you can get it. You can pass it in there, but you can drive it in there, and you can force the defense to have to collapse. And if they don't collapse, and you're like a Casey Hayes, you'll smoke them and you'll get a layup. And so we were really trying to emphasize making sure we got paint touches. And when we went through a little stretch in that second quarter, we weren't. And then we had some turnovers against their zone because we were trying to get paint touches, but we weren't making safe passes. We were making risky passes. But I'm perfectly fine, like in transition, when you got a Josie Gilvin running to the rim, put it up there where only Josie Gilvin can get it. And we've got a couple other young ladies that didn't get in tonight, but they can do that and then some. So, Tori James, Maya Pratcher, they can get up and get that ball as well. And so as long as we're going up and getting 2 hands on the ball, and then either putting it in or getting 2 feet back on the ground, and we're not trying to play fast and out of control.
Maybe not from 3 like you were going, but overall, talk about that. That'd be good to see. Maybe you're kind of coming at it a little bit. 44%.
Yeah, you're right. That's a little bit better. And so, we were shooting 44% from the 3-point line the first part of the year up until finals. And so maybe it's improved because they had class this week. I told you, if we had class, we're going to sign them all up for online classes through Christmas time. So, but maybe that's, I don't know. Some of it, I'm joking a little bit, but there's a little bit of truth there because there's a certain amount of routine to your day when you know you've got to get up and go to class, and then you've got either treatment or film or shooting, and so you get a little bit more of a routine, and that carries over to how you eat and how you rest. And sometimes when they're on break, I mean, they're college students. We all did the same thing. Like they don't want to get up till noon. We practice before that, but they would rather sleep all day. So maybe there's a little bit of truth to that. But proud of them. Good win against a really, really gritty, tough team that's going to be a tough out down the stretch.
Anything else?
Thanks, guys. Stay warm.